How's it going, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be going through a commonly requested tactic, and that is the 2007-08 Manchester United tactics under Sir Alex Ferguson. He's one of the best managers of all time. He had some really great tactics, even though he wasn't always regarded as one of the top tacticians, sometimes more of a man manager, but I think that he was really underrated as a tactician with how he made his systems fit his players' strengths. And before we get started today, remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know what other videos you want to see. As we move into FIFA 22, we'll be definitely diving into some of the new tactical features on that game. Starting off with Manchester United's most common tactics in the Premier League, they mostly went with a 4-4-2. This involved a more conservative right back in Wes Brown staying back, a more aggressive left back in Patrice Evra who would overlap, and then to fit this with the midfield, you had a more attacking winger in Cristiano Ronaldo on the right, who could push further forward knowing that his right back was holding position, and then Ryan Giggs on the left who could cut inside knowing that Patrice Evra was overlapping on the left. In the center, you had two reliable ball players in Michael Carrick and Paul Scholes, who really just kept possession moving. Both could go forward or come back, but they were generally more conservative. And then up top you had the deadly strike duo of Wayne Rooney and Carlos Tevez. Both could come short, both could run in behind, they could drift wide, they were good at pressing, really an all-around strike force that had no real weaknesses, which is what made them so hard to stop. So diving into FIFA, we are going to be going with the 4-4-2 second variation. This is the version with two defensive midfielders instead of central midfielders. This just keeps them a bit deeper, a little more conservative, so even if they're on a balanced instruction, they're not running too far forward like a center mid would. For our goalkeeper, you can either use comes for crosses or default instructions. I think both are accurate depending on the type of keeper you have. Really just do what you think best there. Our right back, as I mentioned, is going to be staying back. This is a more conservative player, really just holding position and letting the right winger run at defenders without being exposed and behind. Our center backs are on default, and for our left back, we are just using overlap. We're not using joint attack because we don't want him bombing forward, but when the opportunity arises, he can make those runs. For our right mid position, we are using get in behind, cut inside, and get into box for cross. We really want this player running at defenders, getting involved, really popping up in those striker positions like Cristiano Ronaldo would. Sometimes he is going to stay wide, especially on the counter to try to run the channel and stretch play, but he will be cutting inside when possible. And moving inside for our right defensive midfielder, I'm just using cut passing lanes and cover center. This is a bit more of a balanced midfielder like Paul Scholes, who could get forward a little bit more. As I said, both midfielders could get forward, but generally Scholes was the one who drifted up a bit more. You could also try adding free roam if you were using a center mid position, but I think defensive mid is a little more stable. For our left defensive midfielder, again cut passing lanes, this time adding stay back and still on cover center. This is our more holding midfielder, making sure we don't get countered. And on the left, I am using it come short and free roam for Ryan Giggs. Really, this is just so he can pop up where he sees fit. He was a very intelligent player who could move into different areas. He could impact the game passing from deep in center midfield area. He could go wide, and he could really interplay with each of the players in the midfield and the overlapping left back. For our right striker, I'm just using complete default instructions. Really, we just want him to be able to go where he pleases and pop up wherever the space is. And likewise for our left striker, just using comeback on defense, just making sure we have one extra player who tucks in just a little bit more, but otherwise for attacking runs and attacking width, they're just going where they see fit and impacting the game however they can. For our tactics, we're using press on heavy touch. This just means that we're going to press if the opponent takes a bad touch, if they go into certain positions, but we're not being overly aggressive. It was a more stable defense that pressed only when the opportunity was there. Defensive width, we were going with 6. They were known for defending fairly wide, and again with the 4-4-2, you are going to be fairly wide, so there can be some gaps through the middle, but you're trying to keep things compact, which is why we're going with a defensive depth of 5. That just keeps things a little bit closer together, less space between the lines, especially in a 4-4-2, making sure you close down that space centrally. For our attacking tactics, we are going with balanced. This is just, again, so we can play however we need to. We can hit on the counter, we can be a bit more patient. However it fits what's going on in the game, that's what we're going to do. For attacking width, again, we're just going with 6 because we want to maintain that width, making sure we're stretching teams out and playing to the strengths of a 4-4-2. Attacking players in box, again, is on 6. That's just so we have a few players making runs into the box when possible. We don't want to overload it and leave ourselves exposed on the counter, but we do want players making those runs to get on the end of crosses. For corners, I'm using 4. I think Manchester United were pretty aggressive from corners with big players like Rio Ferdinand and Nemanja Vidic. just wanting to get on the end of those and having lots of players in there to try to poke things home, loose balls, really just taking advantage of set pieces. And for free kicks, we're using 3. I think that's a reasonable amount, just having players again in the box, but we're not overloading it. Now let's jump into some gameplay clips so I can show you how the tactic works in game. Alright, starting off in our first clip, you'll see we're scoring here, but this isn't really what I'm looking to show. But you see after kickoff, we're moving forward, we're trying to win the ball back, but we're not just sprinting all over the place. But when we do get it back, we can play into the strikers, and we already have players making runs forward. We have that balanced team instruction, so players are making runs forward, but we're not rushing things. We're just waiting for gaps to pop up. And they do. This is the Giggs roll. See how tucked inside he is, and it's an easy chance. On to our next clip, you'll see we're on the counter, running with our holding midfielder. Again, one can go forward and the other will cover. You'll see that other center mid kind of holding position until he goes back. We're playing wide and inside, just being patient, but we still are making runs, so we're aggressive, but not overly so. Again, just moving the ball around. We'll find this left channel really promising with this left midfielder tucking inside and on free roam. Get it to the striker, work it around. We don't score, but it's a good chance. On to our third clip, you'll see we're again on the counter. This formation does very well in transition. And we're again just working the ball between the midfielders, the strikers, being patient and waiting for those gaps to open, but we're still being aggressive, dribbling and waiting for something to open, just waiting for the opponent to make a mistake. And you'll see how far in this left midfielder has come, almost like a third CM. And he just opens up with that run, easy pass, easy goal. Next clip, again on the wing, you'll see a lot of attacks coming down this right wing because we're prioritizing that right winger's width. We lose the ball, but we're just being patient. Again, we're not overly pressing, we're not exposing ourselves, but we win it back and we can counter. Ball goes inside, back to outside, and you'll see this is a classic Cristiano Ronaldo type assist. Beats his man, gets to the end line. Don't score, but again, a great chance. Here in this clip again, we're unsuccessful, but because they're struggling to play it out, we do press, but we press a little too much, so we again back off a bit so we don't overcommit, and we do win it back, and we can again go wide, back to inside. You'll see this is a theme, going wide to inside, back wide, over and over, just moving the ball around, making defenders move until someone steps out of position. And again, see, space opens up, cut inside, don't score, but again, another great chance. Once again on the break, going wide. And again, that Cristiano Ronaldo roll, going wide so we can take on players. You'll see just going wide. Unfortunately, it was only a goal kick, but we're still going. We're soft pressing, again, not overexposing ourselves. And again, we're in on the wing. That left mid can pop up wide, not just inside. Cuts it back inside. Turns the defender, and it's a goal. And our final clip, again, see we're not overexposing ourselves by pressing too high. We're just waiting for the defense to get the ball back. Just soft pressure, trying to force a mistake, but not exposing ourselves. Get it wide, and now we're going. As soon as you beat a man, you go, you get in behind, you stretch the defense. And again, a Cristiano Ronaldo's type dribble, cuts inside, skill move inside, shot across goal. So that is the 4-4-2 tactic that United primarily used in the league. Now we're going to take a look at another tactic that's a bit more what they used in big games as well as in Europe. So this is kind of like a 4-3-3, but I'm actually using the 4-5-1 second variation in FIFA. And the reason for this is that you have a flat line of 5 midfielders, so 3 CMs, 1 right mid, 1 left mid, instead of wingers like a 4-3-3 or a defensive mid or a cam or anything like that. It's just a very solid, compact block of 5 midfielders across the middle, so it's very good for countering. As for the tactics on this one, we're going to go again with press on heavy touch, defensive width, this time on 5, as well as the depth on 5, so we're just a little more compact. Again, this is for the big games against the more difficult teams, when we just want to make sure we're not getting exposed, so we just tuck it in just a little bit. This time for attacking tactics, we are going with fast build-up. This is because we're primarily focusing on playing on the counter. So I would recommend using this either if the opponent's definitely better than you, or if you're up a few goals and you're looking to hit on the counter, this is very good for that. So again, fast build up, 6 attacking with 5 players in the box, So just a little more conservative, but really just looking to hit on the counter. On this one, I'm dropping the corners to 3, just so again, it's a little more conservative, but do what you think is best for the set pieces. Again, for our goalkeeper, you can either do comes for crosses or default, whatever you think is better. Really just depends on what kind of keeper you're using. Right back is on stay back again, center back's still on default. This time for the left back, we are keeping overlap, but they are on stay back. This is just so again, they're a bit more conservative and not getting us exposed. We use that overlap instruction, so if we do manually trigger a run, they're still staying a little bit wider. For our right mid, we are using comeback on defense, and then again, cut inside, get in behind, get into the box for cross, and the same thing for the left mid. So these are coming deep on defense and then breaking forward in transition. They're gonna get forward, they're gonna cut inside and make those diagonal runs. So hopefully if we break forward on the wing, the opposite side winger is crashing in at the back post for an easy tap in. For our center mids, with the right center mid, we just have him on stay back, stay on edge, and cover center. You can use free roam if you'd like to, whatever you think helps, really keep possession and make things open up in midfield. If you want to be a little more conservative, then just don't use free roam. For your central mid, we're going to be using again stay back, stay on the edge of the box, and cover center. This is our holding player who just wants to hold things down in the middle. Our left center mid, again more of the Ryan Giggs role or even Park Ji-sung. Stay on edge of the box and cover center, so balanced attacking instructions so they can roam forward a little bit more, but again, because we're not being overly aggressive, they're not going to be flying forward like we have them on get forward instructions. And for our striker, we're using drift wide and stay forward. This guy needs to lead the line, and when we win the ball, he can go to whatever wing we are on to combine with that winger and help progress down the wing on the counter. We really want him peeling off the center backs and moving across to drag players out of position and open up gaps through the middle. And now let's jump into a few gameplay clips of the 4-5-1 tactic. So starting off in our first example, you'll see we're being a little more conservative defensively, and we win it, but instantly we're on the counter. We lose the ball, but again, because we're not committing too many men forward, we're still in good defensive positions, and we can win the ball back again. Just being patient, and then we nick it, and now we can go. We're really looking to play into the striker, combined with the center mids, easy gap, and of course, the opponent quits as we're in on goal. Second clip, again, being patient defensively. Unfortunately, we let the player through with a good skill move and he scores, but right away, we know we're up and we can keep playing our style. So again, just being patient defensively, patient offensively unless the opportunity is there. And again, like with the 4-4-2, we go wide to back inside. Nothing's there, so we go wide again. And look at how much space is here on the wing. All alone, through ball in behind, across goal. Unfortunately, he doesn't score, but a great opportunity. Again, on this clip, we are winning the header defensively, slowly pushing out, and again, just being patient, waiting for our opportunity. Once we win the ball back, then we're going to go, but we're not going to drag players all out of position just to win the ball back. So you'll see once we do, we go to the wide midfielder, into the center mid, he beats his man, and now we're gone. We're in behind, easy 3v2. Unfortunately, it's not a great cross, but again, a great chance. And continuing on straight into our next clip, just a continuation of the previous one. You'll see that we throw it in, and again, we're going from outside to inside. That's the left center mid who's kind of come across. Look how many players are on one side, so we need to spread things out just so we just patient. We're patient, we play it wide. We can cut back inside. Eventually, friendly bounce, cut it back in, easy goal. Fifth clip here, again, we're just going and being proactive, but not too proactive. We win the ball, and we're just waiting for our chance. It's a bit sloppy, but again, because we're not exposed, we don't have all of our players streaming forward. It's not a big deal if we do lose the ball. We have this 3v2 in midfield, so we have the runners into space, and we can go wide to back inside. Unfortunately, it was offsides, but again, you can see where those gaps are in transition. And now for our final clip, start off with a free kick that goes wide. You'll see this is late game, so we're using this because we're up. We know our opponent's going to be going forward and putting pressure onto us, so we'll have those gaps to play into on the counter. And we force him into a mistake. Not being very aggressive, he just makes the mistake on his own. Again, he dives in, and we look at the striker coming wide and how much space he opens up. So again, we go back inside, through ball, Should have scored there, but again, we're opening up those spaces with the striker drifting wide. Alright guys, that is going to do it for today's video. Thanks so much for watching. Again, let me know what other tactics you want to see, what other sorts of videos you want to see as we move into FIFA 22. Like, comment, subscribe, and have a good one.